Put that coffee down.
Act as if.
You be ferocious. You be relentless.
Show me the money.
Welcome to the latest episode of the Outfast podcast, everybody. My name is Greg Simpson. I got my partner Jeremy Cloder here to my right.
What's that?
I got producer Jeremy Griffin to my left. And today we have the awesome guys from Teal Door Hosting in the house. We got Jared Higginbotham and we have J. Ryan Stewart in the house. Thanks for coming on, guys.
Thanks for having us.
You gotta get that right up in your face, man.
Yeah,
So-
get right in there. Get all up in there.
We got a growl.
Gotta make sure my bald head's in there.
Yeah, give me a sound
So
effect.
guys, we love having Teal Door come to our office. We love brainstorming with these guys. So guys, tell us a little bit about what Teal Door Hosting does for those who don't know what you guys do.
Well, we're a full service property management for short-term rental only. So
Okay.
we very much specifically hone in on the short-term rental market here. It's kind of a new market segment all around the country, but think about platforms commonly like Airbnb, HomeAway, VRBO. Those are the kind of ones that most people are familiar with. We take an investment property that belongs to a homeowner, a client of ours, and we bring in our design team. A lot of times this is an empty property. We come in, we bring the design team, we swing for the fences when it comes to design. We put in magazine level design. We want people to come in as a guest and feel like they're getting something really special, like a full experience. And then we kind of switch hats and we put on our management hat and we take care of the property from start to finish. As soon as it's ready to turn the key and accept a guest, we're managing the marketing of the listing. We're listing it across multiple platforms, which is something that we have that most amateur hosts do not have access to. We list across quite a few platforms. And
How many would you say?
usually about a half dozen.
Yeah, there's a half dozen really large ones, but it can be upwards of 50.
Really?
Depending on the property.
That's
It
cool.
really depends. I mean, how we market it obviously depends on the property, but I mean, once it's marketed and we're bringing in the guests, and
Right.
we're gonna bring in the cleaners between guests, and we manage those people with. We work with contractors and cleaning companies to get it turned over in just a couple hours. So there's no downtime. So we're not shutting these things down for a whole day. It doesn't matter if the HVAC system is broken or there's a leak in the sink. We're gonna get that fixed in a couple hours and get the place clean. Because at 4 o'clock, here comes the next guest.
Sure.
Because we don't want days off, and we're going to manage that. And then at the end of the month, the homeowner collects their check, and everybody makes money.
Fantastic. So why did you guys start this business in particular?
Because of the money.
Show me the money.
Obviously.
Really honest. I mean, that's all
Ka-ching.
good.
I mean, honestly, you know, the business itself, it kind of grew out of nowhere. You know, the market crashed in 2006. It didn't stop people from traveling. It made people a little bit more thrifty. It made them figure out how are they going to go on vacation this year and still enjoy it just like they did last year, except this year they're doing it with half the budget.
Sure.
And so Airbnb exploded, 2008, and it changed the way people travel forever. So now, we're not only subjected to the hotel experience. Now people are getting, an entire home for less than the price of a hotel,
Yep.
which was unheard of. When I was growing up and we were thinking about going on vacation, and people said, "Oh, we rented a house somewhere," it was like, "Man, this guy must have $1 million."
Yeah, right.
Now that's something you can do with $100.
We got a cabin in the mountains.
Yeah,
It's now $100 a night.
That's what people travel now, and it's less than the La Quinta, So
Yeah.
that's the new standard. People expect more for
That
for
could
less.
be a hell of a slogan right there for you guys. Okay.
You have to say it like that. La Quinta.
So, do you guys recommend when you're working with owners? Sometimes they may be curious how long the average person's staying in the property. What do you guys kind of see? And if someone wants something a little longer term, do you recommend people doing longer term in your properties, or do you keep it less than 30 days, or how do you kind of navigate that process?
This is a two-part question here. Number one, first and foremost, we are not licensed real estate brokers in the state of Florida, and we do not rent our homes past 28 days. that is where we would reach out to a partner business like you guys, like at Outfast, and we would have somebody go through the vetting process and sign a lease, right?
Okay.
That's to protect us, to protect the homeowner's investment, all that, right?
So 28 days, is that the magic number?
28 days in the state of Florida is the law.
It is the law. Otherwise, we would be encroaching upon property manager.
Okay, that's just for you guys. Like if someone's going to manage their own,
you have to be a licensed broker to lease something, because at that point you require a short-term lease.
Yeah, you're brokering a deal.
Okay, that makes sense.
And so we're not going to do that. We knew from a very young age in this business that the best deals were going to be made by developing those partnerships. So not only is it really not good for us to give long-term stays, because in this market, people are always going to ask for discounts. Mm-hmm. Why? I'm not going to discount the stay for you because I know I'm going to get booked anyway. Right. I'd rather do shorter stays, and I'd rather visit the property 8 to 9 times a month to make sure it's clean and well maintained, because my owners are expecting it to be cleaned and maintained. So,
the fair point to be made there too is that part of this decision when we were building this business from the very beginning was we're going to operate within the law. We're going to make sure that we're going to show the state of Florida, and we're just going to make sure we show everybody that we're operating within the guidelines of the law. We're paying the taxes. Our owners don't have the option. We remit taxes on their behalf when the platform doesn't do it for you. So we control all that so that we're basically operating well beyond the restrictions of our municipality, because we know what the stricter restrictions are state and nationwide, and we're basically operating within those so that when the laws become stricter, if they do, we're already sort of bulletproofed against that, and there's nobody can come to us and say, well, you guys are breaking the rules and this is what's giving these short-term rentals a bad name. Well, we're trying to give it a good name. We're being proactive and saying, I want people to notice us and say, this is how it should be done. They're already operating within the strictest laws, and we don't want people out there doing illegal arbitrage and all the kind of sort of shady part of this business that could give it a bad name. So part of the reason why we don't do 28 day or longer than 28 day stays is because that's against the law. Yeah. And we're not going to operate that way, because we're in it for the long term. We want this business to be a long-term success.
For sure. All right, so live is going to be done now. Whoops. So if you want more information, guys, you got to go to outfastrealty.com/podcast. You can find all of our we got to outfastrealty.com/podcast. You can see all the audio ones there. You can subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, all the good places. I think it's also on Spotify and Amazon and all that good stuff. Awesome. And also you can find us on YouTube to watch the video version of this, which you can also find on outfastrealty.com/podcast. So if you guys want more information about what Teal Door Hosting does for the short-term rental business here in Tampa Bay, make sure you check us out on the website. See you then, guys. All right, back to that.
Call that a live video bomb, where you're talking and somebody just creeps into the screen on
slides in.
It's there forever. The internet never forgets.
Well, that's what I had. There's a lady that I'm doing a consulting gig with that's starting kind of this membership site that's nutrition and whatnot. And I was explaining to her stories yesterday, and she's like, well, what happens to them? I go, well, they disappear. And she goes, well, where do they go? I go, nobody really knows, okay? but it's gone, allegedly. Exactly.
It dissolves.
Yeah. Yes. All right, so let's talk a little bit about some of the difference between obviously long-term and short-term rentals. Like what really should constitute doing a short-term rental versus doing a long-term rental for someone?
As far as the reasons to do it?
Yeah.
Or what is the definitional difference?
No, what's the reasons to do it?
The reasons
besides money, obviously.
Well, again, the easy answer.
We can talk about that later, but we'll get to that.
The money, but it's diversification. This is a classic investment strategy. You diversify your portfolio in any. You're going to have cash flow properties, and you're going to have properties that you're selling. I mean, you got wholesale deals. You've got all kinds of. Well, now there's a new way to do it, and there's a short-term rental, and a lot of times it is something that is really an advanced strategy at this point, because it can be the best version of a buy and hold strategy that you could possibly do. There are a lot of neighborhoods that, the comps are not so good, so flipping is just, for example, VME Board here in Tampa. I mean, the comps just aren't quite ready. You could buy a house for $40,000 right now, put 40 grand into it, and still not make money. You have a house for 80 grand and the comps are 80 or 90. You're not going to get a lot of serious cash flow type, money people to be involved in that deal. But what if you were to buy it and hold it? Sure, in a couple of years, Tampa's real estate market's going nuts. So yeah, it's great, but that's not the best neighborhood for long term because you're not getting the quality tenants that you want. You're turning them over too often. It's a hassle. Like that can be kind of tough for you as an investor and certainly as a property manager traditionally. But we have homes in this neighborhood that are short-term renting for good money because the guests, all they care about is that it's a comfortable stay. The inside of the house is nice. We're honest about the neighborhood. It's not great, but it's not dangerous. We're telling these people this is a major American city. You're going to see some diversity. You're going to see some homeless, but this is a real neighborhood, and the house is beautiful, and it's right where you want to be. 2 minutes from downtown. I mean, these are great locations for travel, and so it might not be perfect for long term, but for short term, you can make quite a lot of money. And in those kind of
talk about that a little bit because I think that the nice thing when you're doing long term, right? You get a tenant in there, and then hopefully they stay for at least a year. Hopefully we always say hopefully they stay forever, right? So you guys are dealing with them quickly though, in and out and in and out and in and out with a lot of turnover, obviously. Then, right? So talk about that though. When you've got people coming in, that's very short term, setting the expectations, like you were just saying. You know what I mean?
Expectations for the guest or the homeowner?
For both.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, the expectation is we've looked at this for now 2 years almost, and all the research we did in the year before we really launched the business. We're doing anywhere from 7 to 12 turnovers per month. In each place. That's no secret information there.
Right.
It's just that's about how often, just average, because the average stay is 2 to 3 days.
Yeah.
And, the average party sizes can fit in a 2-bedroom home or 3. But when you're servicing those guests, you're gonna, how often you're gonna turn them over. So the expectation there is that is what we're gonna have to deal with, and we're gonna have enough cleaners at our sort of availability to service those.
Right.
And we're talking like there's guests leaving at 10 a.m. and at 4 p.m. the next set of guests are arriving.
That's got to be a logistical nightmare if you're trying to do this on your
it's
own.
It's almost hotels.
You got to think about it. You got hotels. They're there in one spot. Right. You guys got houses in St. Pete, probably. You guys are Tampa. You got, how big is Tampa? Tampa's freaking huge. You guys, that's got to be crazy.
It can get logistically a little bit, challenging, but we have to just stay ahead of that, and we don't have a margin for error because these people have planned their vacation around the fact that they're going to be there at 4, and as a matter of fact, they're going to to for early check-in.
Always.
The guest that's leaving is going to ask for a late checkout.
Or a late checkout.
And the guest that's coming is going to ask for that.
I just got a message right now. Someone just got into Tampa and they want to check in.
Yep. Sorry about that.
I just had a guest leave 30 minutes ago.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, no. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, it's like there are plenty of bars and restaurants around town. It's not quite noon yet, so it's maybe a little taboo. But
they're on
maybe
vacation.
you guys could do something like, how like when a can is dented in the grocery store, they put it at a discount. Like, normally it's this rate. If somebody was just there, it's currently lived in. It's well used. It's 50% off.
Yes.
Look, you joke about it, but people don't want it, man.
Right.
They expect
Perfection.
Better quality than the Hilton, and if it's not, they will beat you up over it.
Yep.
So what are some of the things then that you guys, the challenges of that? Because obviously, like we're just saying, it's logistical. It's tough, right? So obviously some things how do you keep things from slipping through the cracks? Things slip through the cracks,
Spend
right?
money.
So what are the things that you guys run into in those turns and the management that are your bigger headaches that people maybe might not realize?
What about when we walk in and it's not even the first turnover that the housekeepers get to? So we're talking not right at 10 o'clock, but maybe closer to 1 p.m. And the housekeeper sends me a picture of the HVAC leaking through the ceiling.
Oh, geez.
There's a challenge.
Yeah.
Now, when we were ready for that guest at 4 o'clock with a repaired HVAC and a little bit of a stain on the ceiling, but we're talking we can host these guests. That is when we are proving that we can handle this. And yeah, it's a challenge, but we build a network of people we can trust, maintenance professionals, other businesses. Jared keeps mentioning partner businesses. That's how we built this thing, is that we have, by trial, of course, and sometimes error, you find people that you can trust that are going to be there at your call and be able to help you make sure you don't have to cancel on this guest and ruin their vacation.
Yeah.
So those are the big challenges.
So
when things don't go right and you have to fix it within a couple of hours.
When you guys have a lot of traffic coming in through the properties, that's probably a common concern of homeowners is, I'm having all this traffic, they're going to throw parties in my unit. So how do you guys go about that from maybe security standpoint, but also like the type of stuff you furnish with to make sure that it's going to withstand, tenants, or is that kind of a misconception?
Well, I think whenever a guest shows up and sees a big camera right over the front door, they're going to immediately think that maybe it's not a good idea to throw a party in this house. Maybe they're watching. Right now, obviously, we don't put cameras inside the house. That's a whole nother level of insanity. But
That's a
but we
otherwise known as a felony.
Right. You're doing 6 to 10. Not okay.
it's not in our best interest to have parties in these houses. That's why, when appropriate, we do background checks on guests. Okay, so that's one layer of security. We put cameras in these properties. That's a layer of security. And
Not in the properties, on the properties, right?
Correct.
Okay,
On-
just
on the outside.
making that clear. Outdoor cameras, not inside.
My team and I are going to be able to see every single person that comes in and out of this place, even pets, because I'm
Can
charging
your
for
homeowners
it.
log into that too, or is that just for you guys?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
That's just for us.
Okay.
We've got the Nest thermostats. Obviously, Tampa International is a juggernaut right now. They keep adding new flights that are direct to, I think we just got one earlier, actually the end of last year, to Frankfurt, Germany. My German guests, the increase in volume of German and Swiss guests is going through the roof. I'm getting a ton of them, right?
Wow.
Because
That was already
of Tampa
a big
International.
component, believe it or not, of Tampa's travelers or German
Yeah.
travelers.
Yeah, so we're getting all of these travelers that are coming in, and they don't use Fahrenheit; they use Celsius. So what am I going to do? I'm going to switch my Nest thermostat
That's
to
badass.
Celsius for them,
that's-
so
that's
that way
cool.
they can stay comfortable, right? And then if they have issues, it happens all the time. More and more people that are over 60 don't understand how to use a Nest thermostat. So they're gonna get in there and they're gonna spin the dial because that's what they saw on YouTube or the commercial ones, and they're gonna see, okay, well I set it to 70, why isn't it working? Well, that's because it's still on heat, right? So I can go in there real quick and just change it to cool because I know that's probably what they needed, and then we fix it off site. So a lot of these technology features that we put into these homes, they're not just to make our lives easier as far as managing these properties, but it's also to increase the revenue. I'm catching every dog that goes into every one of our listings, and I'm charging for it.
Yeah. So
right?
what about the lady in Ybor? We went for that leaky fan,
man.
right? This fan that was magically had water coming out, but she didn't say anything about dogs, but she had 2 of them. So
Right. I mean,
she probably wished she didn't call us for that thing that we think she made up.
I saw the dogs, and I basically just submit a claim after they leave with photos taken from the
Through
cameras.
Airbnb, right?
Through well,
Or whatever they
if we're
booked on.
working that platform,
Yeah,
then
sure.
Other platforms, I've already got their credit card information.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just charging it, and I'm sending them the evidence, right? So, so in that case, it was an inconvenience. I don't know if it was true that the upstairs unit in that one building leaked. We went upstairs, couldn't find any water. Jeremy and I at 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. My wife's at home, got dinner on the table, and we show up, super late at night in Ybor City, to go handle this mess, and and there's water pouring out of the ceiling fan in the bedroom there, and we're scratching our heads like, where is this coming from? We have no idea. I wouldn't put it past a guest. I've had guests that have planted roaches.
What?
Yeah.
They will do anything they possibly
Wasn't that the
can.
same place?
Same exact place, yeah. But they've planted roaches. I've had guests that planted, hairs on the sheets.
Oh, because they stayed almost the entire week,
Right.
and then all of a sudden there is a massive infestation of 8 roaches the size of my shoe. Yeah, I don't think so.
It's crazy, and
People are nuts.
we take the steps necessary to make sure that we protect ourselves, our housekeeping
And the homeowner,
teams, and the homeowners, because this is their money,
Yeah.
right? So our mattresses, they're covered with dust and bed bug proof mattress
And they're
protectors.
brand new when we buy them. We take them out of the box and then we wrap them.
Our housekeepers are certified bed bug inspectors.
Really?
So
That's
we
cool.
we have that layer of protection in between each guest. So we take all these necessary steps so that way our homeowners aren't losing money, number one. Number two, so that way we can defend ourselves against a guest who is making a false claim, because they do this. If they can find $15 in savings, they will do it. So to bring it all the way back around, we couldn't tell if this woman poured water on the light fixture and had it, dripping all over the bed or not. But what I did was I just said, okay, we're not going to charge you for the pets, because that was an inconvenience. Right? So here I am wheeling and dealing money that
At 9 o'clock at night.
at 9 o'clock at night. So that's kind of like a tool that we use. All of those different features, the tech features and stuff. It doesn't just make us money. It actually makes us a proper management company. It gives us the tools in our toolbox that we need to do our job.
Yeah.
Going back to the sort of original question about parties and things like that, I know a lot of people have heard, the horror stories about these wild parties, and that's a legitimate concern for a homeowner. The security measures we have in place are to protect against that. That's why we do not have that problem. We never have.
Yeah.
There's only one instance that I can think of where there was someone trying to throw a party where it was, we call it the hot box. This is the hot box story.
I love this story.
Basically, it's Sunset Music Festival. Sunset Music Festival in Tampa is a pretty wild weekend.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking
Just a few drugs going around that weekend, let's be
17
honest.
to 20-year-old kids doing all the drugs. And basically, these folks decided that they were going to be slick and sneak, make a reservation for 4 people and sneak in, what was it, 18?
40.
There was a lot. It was a substantial amount of people.
Yeah.
And it was,
Put the 0 on there. It must have not went through.
and we know that weekend to be vigilant and to be watching these cameras and really reviewing it and have our whole team sort of watching. So it gets to be after the festival. It's about 1 a.m. We start getting bing, 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 the alerts, and we're seeing all these cars. And we're seeing all these people coming in. And Jared, of course, is hosting this property. He's trying to get a hold of them, trying to call, trying to message. No answer, no answer. Well, we have the Nest thermostat, the little piece of technology. So we do the hot box. Jared turned the thermostat up to 90 and locked it. Well, they called pretty quickly, about 5 minutes. Hey, can I get the thermostat turned down? It's locked. Absolutely not. You can get out of this property right now, or the police will be on their way, because we can see on the cameras you are throwing a party.
What was their response to that?
Oh,
They left.
Hey, ran,
you should have
man.
seen it. It was
How fast
it
did
was
they
like-
leave? Ding, 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 ding,
It
ding,
was
ding.
like you stepped
Looked like
on
one
an
of those
ant
old
pile.
Snoop Dogg videos of people just pouring out of the house.
It's crazy, and they're all on drugs, ridiculous amounts of drugs, and they're all paranoid. So they're
That's when you wish you had a camera inside to see the look on their
my God,
faces.
so like,
door-
I
the
mean,
front door
Guys
was
hiding under
open.
the bed in the closet.
No, we
I
can
mean-
see and hear them, and the front door's open, so we can see the wildness going.
like
great.
we're not dumb, so all I had to do was pull up Snapchat, right, and I can zoom in on the area, and I see all the 12-year-old. Or they're not 12, obviously, but they're like 16, 17-year-old girls, and they're all on FaceTime and everything else, and you can see everything that they're doing because they're broadcasting it publicly. I found the guy's Instagram page 2 seconds later, and the guy's live on Instagram DJing in our living room. And I'm like,
Dude, love it,
I
bro.
do my screen
Nice place, man.
I do my screen recording, and it takes us about 15 minutes to shut what could have been a really bad
This
situation.
all went
shut it
down over less than a half an hour.
Yep.
So
that's crazy.
We protected the homeowner and the neighborhood and the neighbors in this case, and we're like, they were just about to kick off a huge party, and we just
That's
stopped it
freaking
out.
awesome.
And I made $850 because I charged them for a party, extra cleanup,
Bam.
all the extra guests. I had everything documented, so my homeowner made a nice chunk of change
Yeah.
there. And then also I got it re-rented the next day.
Yeah, it's awesome. What have you ever had anybody like with a credit card on file dispute the charges with the
Absolutely.
bank, that sort of
Of course they
thing?
do.
Yeah,
Depends on the
absolutely.
platform. Airbnb
some
has
safeties in there.
measures against that, but other platforms don't.
It does happen, and we do have a system in place to protect ourselves. Number one, I do credit card authorization forms. Anytime I take a reservation through Booking.com, we send them a credit card authorization form. They fill out their information, and on the bottom of this form it says you agree to not dispute this charge. Right? I've also got the booking confirmation messages from the platform that they're on, and so together with all of those pieces, I can support that because they're gonna do it. It just happened to us 2 weeks ago at the same property that we hotboxed that guy out. They disputed a charge. They were there for 5 days. They stayed for 5 days and then left and disputed the charge.
The
2
whole
days
thing?
later. The whole thing.
Oh, geez.
Said they weren't even there. So I've got them on camera, obviously.
What is wrong with people?
I make them
crazy,
send me a
man.
picture of their photo ID and the credit card, so I can bounce the name and everything off of it. And I get the credit card authorization form, and I charge them. And it's going to take me 2 months to collect my money, but it is a nightmare, right? And it's when maybe a smaller company or maybe an individual homeowner who's desperately relying on that money to make their mortgage payment, they don't got to worry about that because we got a substantial operating budget for this. So my homeowners are protected.
Yeah. So let's get off the negative stuff, obviously, because that's like the worst case scenario stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
Where did Teal Door come from?
So you're driving through any of these nice neighborhoods here in Tampa, and you see a house with a beautiful door. It doesn't matter what color it is, but we chose teal. But at the time, my front door was teal, so it made sense. But you drive through these neighborhoods and you see a big, beautiful door. Usually, the outside of the house is looking nice, and you can only imagine that the inside of the house must be just as nice. And so, really, it was just
It screams Florida. Just
Yeah.
So we really just tried to appeal to most people who are just driving through neighborhoods. Maybe they were a guest at one of our previous properties and they see a teal door. Maybe that's one of Teal Door's properties. I'd like to vacation there and use that home. That's really all it is.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a nice idea. I like it.
Yeah. Do all your companies that you guys, or all your houses that you guys help renovate and design, do they get the Teal Door?
If they're willing to put a teal door, I will take it.
You don't have that like
It's
in
not
the
in the
contract.
It's not in the contract, but
It'd be kind of nice for you guys to help, everybody knows, oh, that's a Teal Door.
when I built my guest house up from an empty garage, into a beautiful rustic getaway, I was like, I have to have a teal door. So
If you guys want to see what Jay Ryan's little, I guess, garage apartment looks like, you got to go watch episode 2 of our webisode, because we take the bathroom is just sick. I can't even describe it. So if you haven't seen our webisode episode 2, you got to go check it out, because it's freaking the coolest thing I've ever seen.
You know what you could do is look into some type of printing that you can just stick on and peel off of the front door. That's the teal door color.
we have a couple of apartments in one of the buildings, and we were thinking these are steel doors, so we could just easily do a vinyl or
Yeah,
a little
there you
stick
go.
on. Yeah, reuse it.
All right, so let's get into the really good stuff. Let's talk about money. My favorite part of this, right? 'Cause
Ka-ching, ka-ching.
This is what fascinates
Soundboard.
me about.
Yep, still don't have a soundboard.
Coins
No,
dropping.
no.
Ka-ching, ka-ching.
Don't
Apparently
get a
got a-
soundboard. Get one of those vintage accounting things like Bugs Bunny.
Yeah, there you go.
Ka-kung, ka-kung.
But
Like Kramer's got his button.
let's
Turn
start
on the
talking
printing
about some
press.
serious cash that you guys are pulling in for your investors and your the landlords, essentially the owners of these properties.
Absolutely.
Because this is what is the most fascinating part about short-term rentals for me is the ridiculous amounts of money you're making on these short terms versus doing the long terms when it obviously it suits this type of property. So let's jump in, man. I know you're going to show for you guys listening on the podcast right now. Jared's going to be having some stuff here for the video podcast. So make sure you go to YouTube and find this podcast on there, so you guys can see the numbers that we're going to show you guys in just a few minutes. But we're going to talk you through it too.
Well, while he preps that, I'll just kind of give you a little intro to it.
Yeah.
Essentially, when it comes to the cash flow and the sort of opportunity to make real money, he's going to show you what our owners actually see. We have an owner's portal where, the property owner, the homeowner can look at this anytime on their phone. They can look at what they're making in real time, and he'll show you some of the numbers here.
Well, here you go. You mentioned Jay Ryan's place already.
Yeah.
So what
These are
if
his
you just
numbers.
had an average tenant in there on a month to month, the 12 month lease, what would he get? Maybe $800.
In this
$800.
for your little one bedroom.
Just assume it was remodeled just kind of average, let's say.
In this neighborhood, a 2-bedroom goes for maybe $11.50.
Mm-hmm.
A 1-bedroom like this, it's only 450 square feet. It's basically an efficiency apartment. It's a
Right.
true mother-in-law separate.
Yep.
Utilities
mother-in-law
include probably $800 somewhere
Probably,
in there.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, probably around $800. So if you, I mean, I don't know if you guys can see this.
Can you get this, Colin?
What,
This is his 450 square foot
450 square feet.
efficiency.
This month, $2,662 net to owner.
How much?
$2,662 net
All right,
to owner.
one more time.
All right, so look,
Awesome.
look, if you can see here, look at all the bookings that he has too. Like
Right.
it is almost like having a long-term deal because
What
it's
do we
booked
get,
all the time.
92% this month?
That's insane.
Yeah.
What it says?
That's crazy,
This month,
bro.
the occupancy percentage is 93%.
Pretty close.
Average nightly rate $156. Booked 25 out of 28 nights. Oh, and let me get this on here though. The one night here that's booked out, we had the entire place tinted and fumigated.
Okay.
So I mean, there's not any bug problems for
Yeah.
future guests. This place doesn't have bug problems. We just got the main home
Yeah.
tinted, so we tinted that as well.
Okay.
But
Okay.
he's making killer money.
Well, let's do one that's not one of your guys' properties. Let's do some of the other ones that you guys were talking about earlier. Like what? Again, let's do like what Jeremy was talking about. Like, what would this normally make without your guys' type of renovation? You know, typical landlord. I'm gonna rent
You can
this.
pull up
long-term.
Tony's, might be an easy one, or if you have a different one, that's fine too.
I just clicked this. This property is located on Swan Avenue. This
Okay.
one's one of our better properties here in Tampa. This is a luxury home. It's designed in the Frank Lloyd Wright style. Okay. This home is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, probably almost 3,000 square feet with a lap pool in the back. It is gorgeous, right? This home just in February is booked 22 nights at 81% occupancy. Average nightly rate $426.
Holy shit!
Okay, so net to owner after our commissions.
This is after your fees.
After all fees. This is what my homeowner's making, $5,712. Okay, so that's just a little bit over 2 guest houses.
Yeah,
right.
I would say that's probably double what they probably could make on a long-term rental in
It's
that.
a little bit more than double. Yeah.
Okay, so after we're done with
This
this,
is a
we're
nice
talking about
neighborhood.
referral fees and maybe some kind of an affiliate situation here or something ASAP. Because if we can go run to people with those numbers,
Yeah.
that's
we've gotta
and see-
get this stuff
and this
out
is
for you
why
guys,
what
you
you
know.
guys are doing, from my perspective, from the marketing perspective, is awesome too, because it's a much easier pitch because it's new and it's different. You're not coming in and saying, "Hi, I'm a better property manager
Right.
than the other people." This is completely new. It's completely different. I know you've had big experiences with that. I'm not asking you to duplicate that. This is something completely different and new, which obviously when you're promoting something, I mean, a guy like me can just run wild with that,
Well,
right?
We recognized a new market segment nationwide
Yeah.
and jumped into it. There was nobody in Tampa.
Yeah.
Now, even though there are a lot of startups that are trying to kind of do something similar to what we do, we meet with these people sometimes and they realize, oh, well, in the same, year and a half, this startup company that was, doing what we're doing, he's got 6 listings and we'll be over 40 by the end of next
Right.
month.
That's
So
incredible.
They're taking us very seriously. We are the experts in this
Yeah.
area. And,
Right.
and these numbers are available for people. It's just any investor. And the best part about it is the guests are paying us. You as the homeowner, you don't even pay us.
Yeah.
Well, and you guys did something too, as far as the marketing goes, that a lot of people probably don't even realize it. But the entire teal door thing is impressive, because when you're talking about Airbnb, one of the hardest things to do in marketing is take something that is intangible. You're renting a space. It's a service, right? And turn it into something that's tangible, that's visual. And with you guys' ability to do that, and now that you can see it and all that, and you're creating the connectivity of it and all that, I mean, I'm very impressed with the whole thing, man. So far, I mean, great job
I
on all
appreciate
this.
that.
You know,
that means a lot.
Yeah.
We started this business. I had experience doing the short-term rentals already. I was in Virginia Beach, stationed there.
Gotcha.
And what we were doing was kind of
it's a
creating.
fun place to be stationed.
Oh, I hated it. I mean, I had this had this opportunity there where I had a great mentor, and he was teaching me the power of real estate, and we kind of built off of that. I have a history and a background in construction. My father was a master plumber turned general contractor, and I grew up on the job site. So there's nothing that I can't do when it comes to home maintenance, right? So this is well within my realm. And so my mentor at the time was telling me, hey, you need to use your GI Bill. I was 18 years old, and my mentor had like 16 properties.
I think he needs his VA loan.
Yeah, use my VA. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, use my VA
I was
loan.
like,
sorry.
Are you saying GI Bill or something?
Yeah, sorry.
I didn't catch it.
Use
I didn't either.
my VA loan and buy these properties. And at that time, the market was terrible, and so I was able to pick up these townhouses that were next door to each other and classify them as duplexes.
Oh, nice.
Live in one side and long-term rent out the other. Do the flip on the one I was living in. Move into the other one. And then vacation, turn the other half into a vacation rental. That wasn't a huge market in 2008. That didn't really pick up until later. But even then, I knew that it was possible to get these homes used as a vacation rental, even in a market that was susceptible to seasonality like Virginia Beach. Nobody's going to the beach when there's snow on it. So even in those times, I was still able to rent these houses out. And we were using the conventional real estate broker who did vacation rentals at the time. We were giving them a commission if they got it booked, but we were servicing it.
Right.
I had all my buddies and their military wives who didn't have a job because their kids were all at school between the hours of 10 and 3, and they were in there cleaning them up, getting some extra cash. And I would go on deployment. They would take care of it for me while I was gone. I'd come home. They would go on deployment.
There you go.
I would take care of theirs. We built that blueprint. And then when I got stationed down here in 2013 in Tampa, it was a no-brainer. I sold all my properties there, bought my house here, and then we started this business.
Awesome.
That's a great story.
Not too long later. Obviously, I stayed deployed so much while I was here. It was really tough to build this business. But I met this sales guru here while I was stationed. While I was stationed here, so you mentioned that marketing piece. It was hard. I had no experience selling services to people. How do I get somebody to
from a client and trying to explain it in a way that they need to hear it that makes sense to them? But I mean, that's how we met. I mean, obviously, if you can't tell, for the listeners, we're both veterans, and we got stationed here and a joint unit. He's Navy, I'm Army, and then we both kind of worked for the Navy.
It all makes sense now.
Veterans. Shout out to veterans. But we both found that we were both giving other people the same advice. We were giving the other warriors sort of the tip to, hey, if you're gone and you're a single guy, your house is completely empty, why don't you make a little extra money while you're gone?
Yeah.
And then, he had a little bit more even experience of actually doing it, but we were all giving people the same advice. It's kind of how we found out we were into it. And then over the time, we found out it wasn't a little bit extra money in certain locations. It was quite a lot of extra money, and we kind of looked at each other like, seeing the sunset of our military careers coming. I just put in 5, but he was over 10 at that point, 11. We kind of see the end of our careers coming, and we were like, we could probably do that. And then we started doing research. I mean, for a good better part of a year while we were looking forward to the end of our military time, and we found out there really wasn't a game in town here, but this was a very serious thing. So that's kind of how we met and how we thought of starting the business on his front porch.
Yeah. All right, guys, we have to wrap this up. We're going a little longer than we normally would, but if people, were you going to say something?
No, I was just going to make another sound effect.
That was a silent one.
Let the listeners and the people watching how they can get a hold of you guys, because you guys are the only ones that we're referring this business to. So you have our complete endorsement of if you're looking to get into renting, your properties out short term, they got to meet with you guys. So how do they get a hold of you?
So you can always go to our website, tealdoorhosting.com, right? And if you want to book one of our homes, go to staytealdoor.com. You can see everything that we have in our portfolio there. You can always reach out to us via email. Send us a note at hello@tealdoorhosting.com, or my personal is jared@tealdoorhosting.com or jryan@tealdoorhosting.com.
Easier to spell. So.
If you want to write a message in the sky, I will read it. I see everything, right? Send us a message, reach out to us, There is not a home in Tampa that we can't do business on. If it's not us managing it, obviously we refer you guys out every single time.
We appreciate that, of course.
For long-term property management, and we love working with people, in joint ventures. We've got some homeowners that live in the main house and rent out their guest house. They have a 9 to 5 that they work every day. They can't clean it. Well, we can, and I'm going to make almost. In every single case, I'm going to make your mortgage.
I'm going to put a couple bunk beds here in startup. Dude,
yeah,
you guys do your thing,
You laugh, but that's an experience right there.
Yeah,
You can market
be
that.
listening to the podcast.
Come to Tampa, and then we're gonna host an experience. We're gonna give you a podcast.
There you go.
There you go.
We'll talk
like it.
about we'll take care of your
The wheels start
your
spinning.
your documentation of your trip.
Oh, no, the wheels are always spinning, right? I mean, I like that. Definitely.
Yeah.
Count me in.
Yeah, I mean it's
Wake up, boom, you're on air. Hello.
But yeah, call us, email us, do whatever, whatever it takes. Because if you're not operating one of these right now, you're missing out.
100% agree. If you like today's podcast, make sure you subscribe to the podcast. Give us a 5-star rating, and give us a nice little review. Give a shout out to the boys over at Teal Door Hosting, and we'll see you guys on the next podcast.